Alright, so welcome back to my channel. This is my Special Forces Season 2, Episode 6 review. And oh boy, was this an emotional roller coaster. So, we start off with Jack. He wakes up at 6:15 in the morning, and not only did his heart rate not go down, it actually went up a little bit. And he said that even throughout the night, he would get up to check. Now, granted, what I'm about to say is totally easier said than done, but it's not going to help your heart rate go down if you're worried about your heart rate being up. It's like, just get a good night's sleep, don't think about it, because that's not going to help the situation at all. I mean, I understand why he is doing that, because he has MS, and he even explained that creates stress on the body, so his heart rate goes up. So I do get that there is a legit reason for him to be worried. It's not like he should ignore the fact that his heart rate is up. I'm just saying that worrying about it is actually just making the problem worse, because he's just stressing himself out even more. So, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, because this, like I said, that's not helping, but I also understand why he's concerned. Because obviously, if your heart rate can't come down, yeah, bad things will ensue. So, he goes to Billy, who nonchalantly, in his Billy way, tells him to go see the medic. And even though he's just being his usual self, not showing any sympathy whatsoever, you can also tell that he's not that thrilled with the situation. I mean, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I mean, I'm sure the DS, they don't want to put these guys, they talk about life-threatening situations and always telling you that you have to do this, you have to do that, or, you're dead. But then there's the real life coming in, and not the real life of war, but the real life of, this is a man with a terminal illness. Now, does all MS patients does it become terminal for all of them? No, everyone there's a spectrum. You could end up like Annette Funicello or Richard Pryor in a wheelchair and just, basically gone. Or it's just something that you're going to have to deal with for the rest of your life, but it won't get to the point where you're in a wheelchair and you need someone to take care of you. There is a big difference between the two. Now, so that's entirely different than playing, for lack of a better term, war games, because let's face it, none of these celebrities actually want to be in Special Forces. This is also already a modification of actual Special Forces training. So I'm sure, based on Q's reaction, I don't know about him, but I'm sure most of them don't want to be faced with the reality that one of the celebrities has to leave, because they could, in the words of the medic, literally drop dead just attempting these tasks. Or, he might end up dying in his sleep or something. It's one thing to die fighting. It's another thing to die because your heart literally gave out. So he goes to the medic. The medic does a observation, so he misses the next task. And when they come back from the task, like I said, Billy seemed very subdued when he was asking him, give me your number, and he walks him back to where the other recruits are, and Jack lets everybody know they're making me leave because the medic says I need to. And of course it sucks. You want to leave because you can no longer hack it mentally. Well, technically it's also physically because it is his heart. But I mean, like with Kelly, her knee gave out, or whatever else, that you just can no longer do what you need to do. Not because you have a ticking time bomb in your chest that could go off because of a condition you have. So technically it's because of the course, because he probably wouldn't be this stressed. His body probably wouldn't have been this stressed otherwise, but still, this hits different. And even though Jack was so quick to call other people weak when they quit, which annoyed the hell out of me. Last episode, I'm not talking about the one I'm talking about now, but episode 5, he was acting like a decent human being. So on the one hand, well, this is karma coming to bite you in the ass because you were so quick to tell people that, oh, I have MS, so I know what it's like to fight, and then wonder why nobody else fights as hard as you. So, on the one hand, he kind of had it coming. On the other hand, this seriously sucks. I mean, if he's going to be a jerk about it, I want to see him get punished. I don't want this to happen. This is kind of unsatisfying if on that end. And on the other end, he was doing well, even though his attitude up until the last episode seriously sucked. But he was, you could see everybody's gelling, they all are rooting for each other, so it did suck. And, it could have been edited in such a way to make Jack look like an absolute ass. And maybe what we saw last episode was the real Jack. Maybe he isn't that big of a jerk. So anyway, while he's at the medic, trying to calm the fuck down, which, again, you can't force that, because trying to force yourself to calm down actually has the opposite effect. So they go to their next, well, they call it an exercise, but it's a challenge. And in this challenge, it's the helicopter crash that you end up in a lake. Only unlike last season where the lake was nice and warm, this is a frozen one. And I figured, okay, Bodhi even said that there's a difference between fear and danger. Fear isn't real, danger is. And technically that's why people fear things, because of danger. But I get what he's saying. That you're not necessarily only afraid of things that are dangerous. So I do get that. So everyone gets to go. And first we have Erin, and she was saying how she's hoping that she could keep her emotions in check like she can when she's on the ice. And so I thought, okay, even though we saw bits and pieces, that we saw clips that showed that she was starting to panic, I thought she was going to still make it through. She didn't. She really didn't. She even had to have someone come and get her. Which I actually thought was going to be Foxy doing that, because he's like, chilling out by the helicopter, giving them cues as to when they can actually unbuckle and get the life vest and go up to the surface. But I guess it wasn't Foxy. But anyway. And we learned that Foxy has been in a couple of helicopter crashes. Yeah, that sounds like fun. So, and Q was the one who was demonstrating the task. And he's a Navy SEAL, so yeah, that checks out. That makes sense. And, but they didn't have him do what Remy did, which was show off. Instead of 50 seconds, he's going to stay for, I think it was 30 seconds underwater. I can't remember, but it was for longer than they were going to make the recruits do. They didn't do that, and he looked like he was totally ready to leave. But then again, you're in frigid waters. So I'm not going to say, oh, Remy could do it better than him. No. Nope, babe. It's the water temperature. That has a lot to do with it. So we go through Aaron, and then there's a montage of Bodhi, Nick, and Tyler. And Bodhi, he didn't sound like he was afraid of water per se, but the fact that his daughter drowned, obviously that's going to play with your head. And so he had to remember this isn't dangerous, even though Billy keeps harping that it is. That, seriously, you need to take this serious because you don't want anything to go wrong. And I get it that in real life that is something to deal with. So they're probably, punching it home that, this is serious. Yes, right now you have these safeguards, but you don't necessarily have to have those. So Bodhi had to think about his daughter. And it's not that I forgot about it, but I wasn't thinking about it. I wasn't connecting that. Of course that would affect him. So he wouldn't look at water the same way as he normally would. So, Tom actually said, I don't like water. And, I'm sure that there's a lot of people on Vanderpump Rules who are taking notes. Tom doesn't like water. Because apparently he's convinced that, the whole world hates him because he cheated on his wife, because that's never happened before. I mean, okay, that doesn't make him the best person in the world, but does that make him an absolute scumbag to the point that you have to threaten him with death? No. No, that's just an overreaction. But anyway, Billy tells him to stop shaking. I think it was, or was it Nick that was shaking? I can't remember now. But I just love it. Like, you can just stop shaking on command. You can stop being afraid just like that. Yeah, that's how fear works. So everybody, I think Erin was the only one who failed. She's the only one who didn't pass. Everybody else passed. JoJo, she took her deep breath a little too early. And so Billy's like, uh-oh. She took her breath too early. And on the one hand, I'm like, well, maybe she can just hold her breath for a long time. So that shouldn't be a problem. Because, like I said last season, I can hold my breath quite well. Now, I'm also not being dipped in frozen water. You know, it's different to be in a nice warm swimming pool or even a nice warm lake than it is to be freezing to death. So yeah, there is that does change things. So JoJo takes a deep breath, and you can see that she's struggling. But she manages to hold her breath long enough, and the second she can get out of the seatbelt, she does. She gets the life vest, gets up, and she manages to get to the side, to the waiting arms of, I believe it was Bodhi. And I just, like I said, I just love how everybody is rooting for each other. Before JoJo went, Tom was saying that his toes were frozen. And so JoJo was trying to help him, and that's how she started to teach him tap. And it started off as just her, just trying to get him to move his feet so his toes wouldn't be frozen. And then she kind of got carried away and started having fun. And so she got promptly chewed out by the staff for having said fun. So they get back, and like I said, Jack has to quit because medics told him to. So they cross out his picture, and you hear Q laughing. And like I said, what the fuck? I'm sorry. I could see them quitting because they got hurt in one of the exercises. I could see them just calling it quits because they're tired of the verbal abuse that they're receiving, or that they miss their families so much that they're like, okay, I've had enough. Whatever the case, fine. Mock them. Mocking a man who could literally drop dead because his heart is racing so fast because of his condition, because he has MS. No. And so the theme of this episode was karma. Because Jack got a karma, sort of, because, well, he was being a dick for 3 episodes. And then Q today got his karma, which we'll get to in a sec. So they go, after they say their goodbyes to Jack, JoJo mentioned to Aaron how she has to, what's helping her get through this is the fact that she's just treating it like she's in a video game. And she's telling this to Aaron because Aaron was so worried that she couldn't even do it, and JoJo's like, but you did. You did do it. I mean, she didn't pass, but if you're afraid of water and you're like, I'm not a strong swimmer, and you're already tired because, well, you're holding your breath and you're in freezing water, I can't blame her I wouldn't blame her for saying, yeah, I'm just gonna leave, thank you. I wouldn't blame her. But she went ahead, she tried it. Yes, she didn't accomplish it, she freaked out, but she tried. She tried. You cannot, you can't blame her for trying. She knew what her limits were, and she allowed her mind to play games with her that, she was freaking out before, when she was just going to get the air. She was already freaking out, so yeah, she was her own worst enemy on this one. But anyway, So they get back to camp, and their next exercise is to. My brain just went dead. So their next exercise. Oh, come on, Susan! Don't go brain dead. So they ran to their vans, and actually no, they didn't have to go anywhere this time. So they were being told that there's something vicious on the other side of the wall, and it's the red man. And this time it's not Rudy, but Q. And so everyone gets a chance to beat the ever-loving crap out of Q. And I don't know if I expected it to be Rudy because I think he's a martial arts instructor. I don't know if Q has any martial arts training or is an instructor or whatever. But I'm pretty sure that they've been watching what the recruits think of each and every staff, and probably heard Bodhi say that every time he hears Q laugh, he wants to punch him in the face. So that might have given them the idea, let's make Q do this. And so this time the only limitation the recruits had was no headshots. Last time they didn't give a limitation except when I think it was Kendra, she was pounding Rudy and Foxy just had to calmly say, not there, which I assume was the groin area. So this time they said no headshots, which makes me wonder if this man has had concussions before. Because people who know anything about concussions know that you're more susceptible to them once you've had one. The more concussions you have, the more susceptible you are, which is really awesome. So everybody was adhering to those rules. Billy made fun of Tom for practically making love to the red man, which I thought was hilarious. I'm like, okay. I'm not sure where you got that, but all right. Now, then we get to Tyler. Now, you know that he's going to know how to knock the red man down because the man was a football player. Tackling is something he probably knows. I don't know what position he played, but still. And so they told him to stop. First they said no headshots. He did a headshot. Apparently, according to Q, he got him a couple of times. And he just wouldn't stop even though Foxy told him to. So Billy had to stop him. I mean, again, he only just had to yell stop, but still. And they were like, what the hell, dude? And they're checking on Q to make sure that he's okay. And that, to me, is karma for Q. Because, I'm sorry, have fun that people are dropping out. But for a medical reason, I mean, okay, fine, if they quit for their pinky hurts. Fine, but a legit medical issue? So yeah, I actually wasn't I was like, yeah, to Tyler because yeah, he didn't stop, but at the same time, Q kind of deserved it. so yeah, I'm not gonna fault Tyler, but so yeah, Q got his comeuppance very quick. So, they call in Tyler for questioning, and somehow this devolves into talking about his mom passing away a few years ago, and, how he's a mama's boy, and which actually that term bugs the hell out of me because Okay, so he loves his mother. He's close to his mother. What is he supposed to do? Tell her to, drop dead? You're supposed to love your mothers. Okay. I I mean, unless they're being toxic. But anyway, so he's very close to his mother, and he was devastated when she died, and he, I guess he has two younger brothers, so suddenly he had to, I don't know if he had to actually take care of them, or it was more of she's not the head of the house anymore, so he has to be, or something. So, and I found it interesting that Q was one of those people who was in the interrogation room. But, he seemed fine, so that's good. So, he goes back, he tells everyone what happened. And then Q comes back in and tells them that, we have to write a death letter. And they have to write it, everyone has to write a death letter in the case that you're not coming home. So they have something to deliver to the next of kin. And yeah, I was bawling my eyes out. Everybody was having issues, and it's like JoJo said, just a warning, I'm gonna cry. And it's like, yeah, it's okay, JoJo, everybody's gonna cry. It's just, that's one thing I love about this show, is they're showing men being vulnerable. I don't care how tough you are. You have tear ducts for a reason. Men cry. That's just the way life goes. And if you think that they're less than men for crying, well, then you suck as a human being. So, everybody had their cry because JoJo was first, Bodhi went last, and, oh no wait, or did Tyler go last? I can't remember now. And Bodhi even gave a line that, he's coming to see the daughter that drowned. And, oh yeah, that just killed everybody, which you would think it would. So, yeah, that's why it's been an emotional roller coaster. We went from the low of Jack leaving to the high of almost everybody surviving their task. The first one and the second one. And then we get the ugly crying of death letters. So, next episode we see them pushing sleighs, it looked like. So, yeah, that'll be fun. So I don't know if everyone's pushing their own sleigh or if they're in groups. But, yeah, that's going to be interesting because we have 6 people left. Yeah, they're nearing the final stretch, and then we also see them. Next episode must be the penultimate episode, because we see them, not only do they do that, but they're also having to escape from a ambush and try to survive, which at least last season they were all captured, taken to be interrogated, and that was the last episode, to see who survived that interrogation and who went through it correctly. So, looks like there's only 2 episodes left. And, let's see if I'm missing something. Oh yes, it was so cute how JoJo asked Jack, if she could have his beanie, and he's like, oh yeah, sure. And let's see if I'm missing anything else. Like I said, it's so great to see how everybody is trying to boost up everyone else. You know, JoJo was at the toilet and she was saying, tell me not to quit. Even though Jack had already said when he left to JoJo specifically, don't you dare quit. And Tyler said, you got this. He didn't actually say the words, don't quit. He just said, you got this. So it is so nice to see everybody. That's what I like about reality shows like this, is that everybody is boosting the other people up, as opposed to finding a way to be conniving and trying to backstab and trying to get rid of people. They're actually all rooting for each other. So yeah, I think I've rambled on long enough about this episode, and I will see you guys in the next video.